Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Evamita yata tvam Atmanam Parameshvara Drastumichamite Rupam Aishvaram Purusottamam. Okay, we'll do word for word. Evam, thus. Etat, this. Yata, as it is. Ata, have spoken. Tvam, you. Atmanam, yourself. Parameshvara, O Supreme Lord. Drastum, to see. Ichami, I wish. Te, your. Rupam, form. Aishvaram, divine. Purusa Uttama, O best of personalities. Purports, translation purports by His Very Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Srila Prabhupada. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position, as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. Please repeat. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position, as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. Purport. The Lord said that because He entered into the material universe by His personal representation, the cosmic manifestation has been made possible and is going on. Now, as far as Arjuna is concerned, he is inspired by the statements of Krishna. But in order to convince others in the future who may think that Krishna is an ordinary person, Arjuna decides to see him actually in his universal form, to see how he is acting from within the universe. Although he is apart from it, Arjuna's addressing the Lord as Purushottama is also significant. Since the Lord is the Supreme Person of Godhead, He is present within Arjuna himself. Therefore, he knows the desire of Arjuna, and he can understand that Arjuna has no special desire to see him in his universal form, for Arjuna is completely satisfied to see him in his personal form of Krishna. But the Lord can understand also that Arjuna wants to see the universal form to convince others. Arjuna did not have any personal desire for confirmation. Krishna also understands that Arjuna wants to see the universal form to set a criterion. For in the future, there would be so many impostors who would pose themselves as incarnations of God. The people therefore should be careful. One who claims to be Krishna should be prepared to show his universal form to confirm his claim to the people. Okay, so in the previous chapter, Arjuna has already acknowledged and accepted all that Krishna has told him about himself. And he's accepted Krishna as the Supreme Person. Also, in previous chapters, Arjuna heard all about the glories of Krishna, that Krishna is the supreme creator, he's a maintainer, he's a controller, and he's all-pervading. And then Krishna told him also that by a single fragment of my opulences, I pervade this whole world. He says in 10:19, he says, yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent, O Arjuna, for my opulences are limitless. And later on in the chapter, we'll see those opulences he's describing as he goes later into the chapter, which are inherent in his universal form. And then from 10:40 to 42, he says, O mighty conqueror of enemies, there's no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. So Arjuna was curious. It's saying here in the purport that it's not that Arjuna really wanted to see, because he's having and has had and has always had, the association of Krishna as Nara and Narayan, and also in his pastimes with the Yadus and in the Battle of Kurukshetra. There were so many beautiful pastimes and intense pastimes that Arjuna has had with Krishna. But further on in this purport, the reason is because there's so many others who don't believe, in Krishna as a personal form. And as I was researching, it's funny, maybe Prabhupada spoke on this chapter in some other place, but I went on, in my research, I went on Prabhupada Vani, and in there's nothing at all, no lectures in that place of Prabhupada on the universal form, But there's a lot. I looked also in, there's a full description in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I have it with me in the second canto. And he talks about the cosmic manifestations. So I'll be referring to some of those, the descriptions from there. So it is saying now, as far as Arjuna is concerned, he's inspired by the statements of Krishna, So it said earlier too that he was out of illusion and he accepted Krishna. And that Krishna's Aishwarya is not appealing to Krishna, because after you've had his personal association and you have associated with his personal form, why would you, him as a pure devotee, why would he be interested? So Prabhupada addresses this issue of those others he's talking about. And I'd like to just read a little bit about, these others that Srila Prabhupada is referring to in this purport. Okay. I'll just start reading in the middle of the purport. This is from Canto 2, Chapter 1, Text 24. He's saying that phenomenal manifestation of the gigantic universe is only a part of his Virat body. Less intelligent men cannot conceive of the transcendental all-spiritual form of the Lord, but they are astounded by his different energies, just as the Aborigines are struck with wonder by the manifestation of lightning, a gigantic mountain, or a highly expanded banyan tree. The Aborigines praised the strength of the tiger and the elephant because of their superior energy and strength. The Asuras cannot recognize the existence of the Lord. Although there are vivid descriptions of the Lord in the revealed scriptures, although the Lord incarnates and exhibits his uncommon strength and energy, and although he's accepted as the supreme person of Godhead by learned scholars and saints, Vyasadeva, Narada, Asita, and Devala, and these personalities are mentioned in the Bhagavad-Gita in previous verses. The Asuras do not accept any evidential proof from the revealed scriptures, nor do they recognize the authority of the great acharyas. They want to see with their own eyes at once. Therefore, they can see the gigantic body of the Lord as Virat, which will answer their challenge. And since they are accustomed to paying homage to superior material strength, like that of the tiger, elephant, and lightning, they can offer respect to the Virat Rupa. Lord Krishna, by the request of Arjuna, exhibited his Virat Rupa for the Asuras. A pure devotee of the Lord, being unaccustomed to looking into such a mundane, gigantic form of the Lord, requires special vision for the purpose. So the Lord therefore favored Arjuna with special vision for looking into his Virat Rupa. Actually, I was listening to a lecture by Romapad Swami. I was reading on his one of his sites. He was saying this Divya Chakshus that he gave to Arjuna is actually a lower, because Arjuna already had a relationship with Krishna, and Arjuna looks at the Lord with the eyes of love, tinged with salve of the love. Anyway, you know what I'm saying, right? That he's already adoring and loving Krishna, and they have a special relationship. So for him to see the universal form was not so, he didn't. At the end, he didn't want to see it. He wanted to see the two-armed form that he's used to seeing and interacting with. But this was done just for, as I'm reading here, it's just for persons who don't, who want, you have nature lovers, you have people who, are in love with nature, they love the earth. And so, in a way, they're also worshiping Krishna, but they don't know the sweetness of understanding Krishna in his personal form. Because can we imagine, we're serving Krishna, we're understanding Krishna as being a person, so we feed him, we clothe him, we interact with him, because that's the sweetness of getting to see Krishna in his personal form. Even like when you go into the temple and you look at his deity form, I went today early on, and he's so beautiful. You could just stand there and look forever at his personal form, And this is what the Asuras and the atheists want to deny, that he has this personal form, that you're able to interact with him and love him and have loving exchanges, So. And also in terms of, let me finish first before I go on. Prabhupada says that this Virat Rupa, and I'm sure it'll all be explained further on in the Bhagavad-Gita of this chapter, this Virat Rupa of the Lord was especially manifested not for the benefit of Arjuna, but for that unintelligent class of men who accept anyone and everyone as an incarnation of the Lord, and so mislead the general mass of people. For them, the indication is that one should ask the cheap incarnation to exhibit his Virat Rupa, and thus be established as an incarnation. The Virat Rupa manifestation of the Lord is simultaneously a challenge to the atheists and a favor for the Asuras, who can think of the Lord as Virat, and thus gradually cleanse the dirty things from their hearts in order to become qualified to actually see the transcendental form of the Lord in the near future. This is a favor of the all-merciful Lord to the atheists and the gross materialists. So these are some of the aspects of the universal form. There are 5 features. One is the immeasurable nature of the Virat Rupa. Its effulgence is compared to thousands of suns. We can imagine, even also this morning I was looking at the sun. You have people who are sun gazers, so you look at the sun, but when you look away, your eyes are like, I don't know, have you looked at the sun for a long time and you feel you're a little bit blinded, when you turn away from the sun? So imagine, you probably couldn't even look at the sun, at Krishna's universal form. That's why Arjuna was given this Divya Chakshus, because thousands of suns, you wouldn't be able to see it. And then in that form, everything in the universe is in one place, all the demigods, all moving and non-moving beings. And I heard someone give an analogy of, like, this is kind of a mundane analogy, but it'll hold. Like, you have your cell phone, and in that little cell phone is a small world. You can go anywhere with it. It's like a small world. You can go any place in the world on your cell phone. Even like all the little apps, I guess that's what you call them. I don't have one, so I can't tell you all the, but like, even all the websites that have, like, you have Facebook, and that's a whole world in itself. You have, whatever, Twitter, whatever, YouTube, whatever. They're all little universes. And this is just kind of a little mundane analogy, but everything is contained in that Virat Rupa. And then also, in that Virat Rupa, you see the past, present, and future. So Arjuna could also see the outcome of the battle, and it gave him more conviction to fight. And then in that Virat Rupa was also Kala, time, the Kala Rupa. And Arjuna was seeing the destruction of the worlds and the people, and he also saw all the soldiers in that battlefield entering into the mouth of the Virat Rupa. So he could understand that Krishna had it all covered. All he had to do was just do his duty, which was to fight the battle, for Krishna. So there are some other examples where Krishna exhibited his Virat Rupa. One was partial. I'm not sure about whether the other one's partial or not. Can anyone tell me which one? Can give me one example of where he exhibited his Virat Rupa?
Would it be when Mother Yasoda looked in the mouth of the baby?
Yes, that was one. No, but I'm sorry. Yes. Yes, Duryodhana, who was Duryodhana. I was going to ask the pronunciation. I say Duryodhana, but it's Duryodhana, whichever. Duryodhana, right? Yeah, because Krishna came to him as a peace messenger, and of course, and he was asking for 5 villages for the Pandavas. And Duryodhana told him, I won't give you enough to fit on the pin, on the head of a pin. I won't even give that much. So then Krishna showed this. But before that, Duryodhana had already planned, if Krishna tries any tricks in this assembly, I'm going to arrest him. I'm going to send my soldiers to lock him up, So Krishna exhibited, it said it's partial. It's not the whole manifestation, it's a partial manifestation. And there were only a few, there were some people who saw that. One was Bhishma, and I can't remember all who saw that form, Dronacharya, I'm not sure. So then Duryodhana, he just said, arrest him, and he just figured it was one of Krishna's tricks, He said, oh, he's pulling his mystic tricks again. So, so we as devotees, we want to interact with that two-armed form of Krishna. We want to be able to lovingly serve him, offer devotional service, loving service to him. How could we, offer clothing to we don't have enough cloth to cover the universal form. We couldn't offer that to him. Nor would we have enough food, enough, bhoga to offer to the universal form. So Krishna was so kind. He just came in his Arta form for us to interact with him, to serve him nicely, to develop love for him, by doing this. Because otherwise, how would we know what we need to do? I know when I was coming as a Christian, and my question was always, yes, they say there's God, but then, what do you do with God, And if you go to heaven, as they say, then what do you do there? What do you do? Just stand around, What'd you say?
You meet grandpa.
Grandpa and grandma.
That's what they say. They want to go to heaven to meet their old relatives.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you went there to meet God, the kingdom of God.
That's the interesting thing. When they talk about it, they really don't talk about God. They just say, we'll meet again.
Yes, well, yeah, they say that too. But some people think, and especially in some of the African American churches, you go there and I guess you join the choir and you sing, That's perfect. But still, you don't know how great God is. You don't know anything. What are you doing there? What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do there? So we have all the information about what is the spiritual world. What do you do? How do you interact? What's our relationship? What's our eternal position in relationship to Krishna? We're eternal servitors. That's our, position, and that's how we're going to be happy. And we can't find happiness in this material world because it's not here, no matter how hard we try. And I always say that happiness that we're searching for is only the amount of time between two problems. You have that little space of breath, and then you're happy, and then something else comes, because that's the nature of this material world. It's a rectification house. It's a prison house to rectify our consciousness. Also, I saw a note, and so I was thinking, who is Krishna offering the prayers to? He's not offering the prayers to the Virat Rupa. So when I looked on Ramapad Swami's site, he said that the two-handed form is also still in the chariot with Arjuna. And that's the one he's offering the prayers to, because that's personal. So he's offering the prayers to that Krishna, that two-armed Krishna that's standing next to him on the chariot. And so we are getting the mercy, to be able to understand not every detail about Krishna, but to understand enough about Krishna for us to desire to want to serve him, to be with him, to offer him, devotional service. We're understanding at least that much about Krishna, and whatever else he wants us to know, he can do, He can give us, whatever because he's in our heart, so he can give us whatever, we need to know about him. Okay. So if anyone wants to read about it, it's a lot in here about the universal form. in text 25, it says that the gigantic universal form of the person of Godhead within the body of the universal shell, which is covered by sevenfold material elements, is the subject for the Virat conception. And this is for Mother Namatintamani. I found in here that we were discussing Brahma. Brahma was meditating, and we were reading, and we were saying, who was Brahma meditating on? And I saw here that Brahma was meditating on the Virat Rupa. That's what it says here. I tell her I found it. She's listening. Because we were discussing this not too long ago. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, and it's in the chapter, The First Step in God Realization. It's a very, very, very beautiful chapter. Very beautiful chapter. Yes, it's a small book, but it's got big, big, big information. It's got everything you need to know for your life. You don't need to go anywhere else. All you need to do is open this book, and all your questions are answered, all your problems are solved. You can apply it to every situation. You just need to look in this book, which Prabhupada sacrificed his life to write and to give to us. So anything here, you don't need to look at the newspapers, you don't need to look at TV, you don't need to do anything. All you have to do is pick up everything is here. You know, and Krishna in the heart, whatever situation that you're dealing with, at least I found, my personal experience has been when I'm bothered with, I just go through and whatever I'm reading, it just answers perfectly, you know, what I needed to hear. Because that's why we're doing this, so we can utilize that knowledge for the situations that we come across, you know, while we're trying to reach Krishna, while we're trying to get back to Godhead. So I think there was one more thing that I thought was okay. This is one that I wanted to just share. This is in 2:2 and text 13. So in this, he just says that this meditation, you know, on the Virat Rupa, the result will be manifested by one's detachment from sense gratification, and it will purify the intelligence. Those who are too engrossed in sense gratification cannot be allowed to participate in archana, or to touch the transcendental form of the Radha Krishna or Vishnu deities. For them, it is better to meditate upon the gigantic Virat Rupa of the Lord, as recommended in the next verse. The impersonalists and the voidists are therefore recommended to meditate upon the universal form of the Lord, whereas devotees are recommended to meditate on the deity worship in the temple. Because the impersonalists and the voidists are not sufficiently purified in their spiritual activities, archana is not meant for them. And then at the end of this paragraph, it says, Krishna also understands that Arjuna wants to see the universal form to set a criterion. For in the future there would be so many impostors who would pose themselves as incarnations of God. The people therefore should be careful. One who claims to be Krishna should be prepared to show his universal form to confirm his claim to the people. So if there's anyone who just is claiming to be God, you just ask them, you know, can you show me your Virat Rupa? If you're God, can you show it to me? I'd like to see it. You know? And there's two little, I think it was two little stories that Srila Prabhupada that I wanted to share. It's small, but there are two incidences where Prabhupada gave some responses. There was, he was giving a lecture, and one young man, and I think I'm relating this, it's not verbatim, but it's the essence. So one young man stood up and said, asked Prabhupada, can you see God? in a challenging manner. And then Prabhupada said, no, because you're standing in the way. And then the other one was, he answered depending on the mood that he could pick up from the question, the person who was asking the question. Then there was one woman who also stood up and asked Srila Prabhupada, can you see God? And then Prabhupada was very gentle with her. He said, yes, I can see God. And then he says to her, you cannot? You know, he was very sweet to her because he understood her confusion, you know, and then she just sat down because she said, no, I cannot see him, you know. So Prabhupada had a different way of dealing individually with each person because he understood their mentality, you know. So in conclusion, I would just like to say that this personal form of Krishna is one we should meditate upon, and when we chant, we can think about his pastimes because we have so much. There's so much sweetness in his pastimes. It's expressing his personality, his individuality, his relationships with us, his relationship with the gopis, with Mother Yashoda. So this is such a sweet thing for us to meditate on. We don't want to see, like Arjuna, we don't want to see the universal form. We want to see our sweet Krishna. So if there are any questions or if there's any corrections or any additions.